Alright guys, so it's round 3 of tonight's FNM standard event from Lost Legion Games and Comics here in South Charleston, West Virginia, already underway. On the left, we got Scotty Wright, who's playing his junk mid-range deck. We've seen it in weeks previous to this. It is a deck that uses Mana Dorks into Loxodon Smiters, as well as Voice of Resurgence, and then has a high end of Whip of Erebos and Amzadat. So just a lot of value, some removal as well. Just a good old-fashioned mid-range deck. And his opponent, Alec Myers, who's playing his patented Colossal Gruul deck, which is uses Nykthos, a lot of Planeswalkers to chain out a lot of giant threats, and Alec doing what Alec does best, which is emptying his hand on turn 3, chaining an Emissary into a Sylvan Caryatid to go along with his turn 2 Voyaging Satyr. So he's going to be able to untap next turn, activate Nykthos for 1, 2, 3, 4. Can immediately untap it and use it again. Going up to 6, 7 if he plays a land. 8 mana on turn 4. So Alec racing out to an advantage here. Let's see what Scotty has as a follow-up. He's going to go ahead and shock himself with an Overgrown Tomb here. So we're going to murder something. Yep, we're going to ultimate price the Traveling Satyr, so man down. More importantly, mana not nearly as available for Alec as we try to stymie the high end of his deck. And then we play a Voice of Resurgence. So Alec says, forget using Nykthos to combo out and make mana. Let's just load up a Polukranos. So Scotty finds a natural white source of mana in Temple of Silence, then plays another Caryatid. So a lot of mana, but Scotty's deck not the deck that can take advantage of it like Alex can. So we're activating Nykthos now for 5 mana. 2 mana. Excuse me. So Alec with some choices here, it seems like. He has another Nykthos in his hand, so he can take advantage of the new Legend rule and chain Nykthos activations if he wants to. So tapping for... Alright, so we're activating Nykthos for 5, then tapping his last mana to play a big Garruk. He's going to shove a land and a Xenagos, but draw a Polukranos and 2 Scavenging Oozes. It's going to leave those face up there so Scotty can see them rather than write them down. Now Alec deciding if he wants to serve in there. He decides no, he's leaving the team back on defense. Doesn't want to let that elemental, the Voice of Resurgence, trade in for an elemental, which is a much more of a threat at this point. 4 mana for Whip of Erebos. But now Alec has the potential to just go absolutely bonkers here. He's going to activate Garruk first, revealing, I apologize, right into the glare here. Looks like an Arbor Colossus and another Caryatid and shove 3 lands. But with Nykthos and the way that his current devotion to green is at 7, we can make a lot of mana here. Make a very, very big Polukranos, if we so choose. So there's a Scavenging Ooze. Activate Nykthos for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 mana. Play an Arbor Colossus for 5. Got 3 mana floating. So with 3 mana floating, we're going to activate Nykthos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So up to 12 mana now. So with 12 mana, I think they've lost count themselves. So he's going to fight the elemental. This guy's going to gain some life off the fight from the Pelucranos. So clear out the Mystic, clear out the elemental. Put 3 counters on the Pelucranos, use the remaining mana to eat all the cards in Scotty's graveyard, which is a great interaction, along with Whip of Erebos there. Eat his own Traveling Satyr, and when all the dust settles, he's going to serve in with a now 8/8 Pelucranos. Scotty was in this position where he could find a removal seal and deal with that Pelucranos, and he still can, but with another Arbor Colossus and now a giant Scavenging Ooze, which is only going to get bigger, in a bit of a pinch here. So Nykthos doing what Nykthos does best, making a degenerate amount of mana. And Alec, like we've seen him do in multiple weeks prior to this, flooding the board with must-answer threats. So Brad in the chat calling it Nykthos Academy of Teleria. It is very much a Telerian Academy. So there is an... goodness, what the heck is that lady's name? Tristani, followed up by a Scavenging Ooze. So I'm going to stem the tide a little bit by loading up the board. Loading up the board, gaining some life. And a pretty interesting interaction here too, as Scotty can untap, use Tristani to populate, make another elemental token, which at this point would be a 6/6. So interesting here. Alec is going to scry away one. We see the interaction with Garrick and the Scry lands. Going to tick Garrick up to 7, revealing another Garrick, Burning Tree, Pelucranos, another Garrick, and a land. So draws another Pelucranos and another Burning Tree. There's actually a point here at which we could attack with Pelucranos, then untap, play another Pelucranos, and Monstrous it to kill Tristani to avoid the populate. But choosing not to do that. So before he does anything, Alec is going to serve in with an Arbor Colossus, which can go Monstrous, an 8/8 Pelucranos, and a 5/5 Scavenging Ooze, which cannot get bigger as the board sits currently. So I guess this line is fine, as Scotty is forced to block. He's not going to be able to save... He's not going to be able to save both his Tristani and his elemental token. So we're going to double block the Arbor Colossus. Which is going to force Alec to activate his Nykthos. Which he does for 1, 2... Well, he thinks about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Alright, so interesting. Alec choosing not to go Monstrous on his Arbor Colossus. Kills the elemental token. The Ooze does not die. Alec kindly reminding that to Scotty. Plays another Emissary. Uses the mana floating to activate his Nykthos for 11 mana, so he has access to 12 here. And he is doing what we thought. So still floating 4. Still floating 4. So he can fight that Scavenging Ooze. Make a 7/7 Pelucranos and kill the Ooze. And that's, in fact, what he does. So I had the mana count slightly wrong there, but now the same 8/8 Pelucranos. And there is a Blood Baron of Vizkopa. So he's going to ultimate Garrick here. Garrick's ultimate, whenever he plays a creature, he can go into his library, find another creature, and put it into play directly. And like a pro, he has the emblem. Scotty's going to say, let me save you some time here. These guys know what's in each other's decks. And Scotty knows he's not going to be able to come back from that one. As the Whip and the Blood Baron are going to help him gain some life, but not nearly enough life to outrace what's likely to be multiple. Alright guys, so Scotty down a game here in a round 3 feature match, mulling to 5 on the play, starting off with a turn 1 Elvish Mystic into a turn 2 Loxodon Smiter, so you can't complain about those 5 cards. There's already a considerable amount of pressure on board Alec, following up with just a turn 2 Voyaging Satyr. So the beatdown commences, Alec dropping to 16 off of a Smiter attack. There's a Scavenging Ooze, so this mull to 5 looking pretty good for Scotty. He has all 3 colors naturally, he has a Mana Dork, he has an early clock, and he has some reach with the Ooze. But Alec is just going to make a Xenagos and pass the turn back. Going to make a Satyr, so unless Scotty has a removal spell, Xenagos will live through this attack. And Scotty likely is just going to eat the Satyr with his Smiter attack, as Xenagos is on Abyss duty with the way the board currently sits. Former player Yin Sang making an appearance in the chat. I knew when we saw this is about the best 5 cards Scotty could have ever hoped for, as he has a turn 4 Obsidat to go along with his early pressure of Ooze and Hierarch. So Alec in a bit of a pinch here. So Alec choosing whether or not he wants to play a Nykthos here. He's going to tick up. He's going to tick up his Xenagos to make mana. Tap his Satyr, tap 4 lands, and cast a Rurik Thar. Obsidat comes back in. And now we're in a bit of a situation here, because so there's a non-creature spell, so this guy's going to go down to 14, but the Vraska is going to take out the Rurik Thar, allowing us to swing in. Is this for lethal here? I think it might be 1 short. 6. Nope, that is exactly. No. 6, 7, 8, 11, 12. I don't know what happened there. No, it doesn't matter. So Scotty mulling to 5 on the play, finding literally the best sequence of cards his deck could generate. So both players on 7 cards here in Game 3. This Battle of the Undefeateds here. Winner draws in. Loser has to play their next round. Did Scotty even draw a card?
Yeah. I was
just
waiting
waiting
about it while he took his turn.
Okay. So Alec with a turn 2 Scavenging Ooze. Ironically not where he wants to be, really. He wants a turn 2 Emissary into Voyaging Satyr. Or at least some kind of mana ramp so that he can power out a turn 3 Domri or a turn...
He must just have a lot of the sideboard cards in his hand.
Possibly. I guess we're deciding if we want to ultimate price this Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah.
Or Abrupt Decay it. Well, if you're not going to play a card on 2 and you have multiple removal spells...
Yeah, he's got tons of removal.
This is often where I get frustrated with your brother. Which is he's going to spend a minute deciding, do I use my 2 untapped mana and one of my multiple removal spells to kill a creature?
You missed my needle on
I
it.
know he doesn't. He doesn't even kill it.
Maybe he's bluffing.
He's bluffing. I can see the Doomblade and the Abrupt.
I came over.
If he saved Abrupt Decay, Yes. Okay, that was good.
Okay.
Yeah, but he can also untap and do the same thing. Like, it doesn't... Like,
Well, he wouldn't have had it.
He only has a broken.
If he
no, he has a Doomblade in his hand. This is what I'm talking about.
Well,
I'm only talking about the scenario right
well, I mean,
here.
there's that too. He has it under control now, and there's no creatures in the yard.
But there's a situation in which if Alec doesn't have a follow-up, then you just wasted a turn.
Right.
Magic is often about who taps their mana the most over the course of the game. But also, your brother takes a long time to make decisions.
Okay. Yeah, let me get back to that. I walked over and they were finishing up, and I said, "Who got it?" And they said, "Nobody." And he was like, "Game 2." I was like, "You're going to game 2?" Or that was game 2. What do you think? Yeah, we just finished game 1, and I was just like, "Oh, well, the way you play."
Oh, this is how brothers interact, which is to constantly needle each other for no reason.
Try to hear me out there.
That's fine. So Scotty adds a Voice Resurgence and another Sylvan Caryatid to his board.
All blockers all day.
And Alec says, I'm going to make a Satyr and serve in here. I'm going to block one and just take the 2. So not trading out the... not trading out his...
He doesn't want to put creatures in the yard.
Elemental.
Yeah, so it is. To keep those from... What's the one in the glare?
That is the most important one, which is a Plukernos. So follows up with 5 mana with Plukernos and Elvish Mystic. So we're not going to be able to kill that Zyndago. So next turn it's going to make a lot of mana. So he's going to have access to 10 mana unless he plays a land. If he plays a land, he's going to be able to fight or make a 10/10 Plukernos, kill that voice. Go pretty crazy from there. See, the problem with this matchup is definitely winnable for Scotty, but the problem distinctly is Scotty's deck is a 1-for-1 deck, and Alec plays 3 cards a turn. You know, it's very good at it plays a lot of Planeswalkers. It's very good at defending them. Like, see, this Lockdown Smiter doesn't do anything. It's just going to get killed by the Plukernos.
Yeah, he could kill it if he activated it, I guess.
If he plays a Nykthos, he can do whatever he wants.
6, 7, 10, 12, so you can Plukernos for 5.
Well, he's not going to do that because he's going to make a Satyr.
He doesn't need to do anything right now.
Commence beatdown. So as it stands, he's conserving and he's representing a Plukernos activation for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So fighting something for 2.
So he still has a Doomblade, right? Block, tap, Doomblade, Plukernos.
He's got 2 mana dorks on
Yeah.
So that'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can fight for 3.
It's a Doomblade.
Well, the key is to do the Doomblade in response to the activation.
I think he's trying to get him to activate.
But he might
Sink
not.
his mana.
But he might not do that.
Well, I mean, he's gonna be tempted to activate and just to keep it alive and kill his creatures.
The way Scotty's reading this right now, like Alec, if he is a smart player, and he has shown me over many months that he is, he's probably recognized this. So there is a Doomblade in Scotty's hand. And the fact that he thought over it for turn 2, maybe he's thinking that as well. Whoops, he hasn't noticed that.
It's not a Doomblade.
So if Alec just...
I read the same thing. He's wondering if it's still going to deal the damage if he does it in response, and it's not, because the counters get put on first.
Yes, if there are no counters to put on, it does no damage.
Right.
But he should know that, right? I mean,
Well, he's just reading it, and now he's calling JV, I think.
Also,
Talking to somebody.
It does become, it's 2 separate triggers, so it's monstrous, and then the monstrous effect triggers.
Yeah.
And if he just kills Plukernos, then there's nothing there to fight. It won't fight.
Right.
Yeah. It's just, if he does it in response to the trigger, all you need to know is that if he Doomblades in response to the trigger, nothing happens. Yeah. I figured he would know this, though, because that came up multiple times at, like, the Pro Tour and a couple of bigger events. But, because Monstrous is, like, a weird ability, the way that it actually interacts. Like, it's like a damage-based ability that actually doesn't do damage directly. You know, it's a part of the resolution of the trigger, so So J.
So yeah, that has to be the question.
Mm-hmm.
Should open the door in here.
No, I don't care. He's just going to ask him about that. The question here is like Alec is lining up blocks such that he wants to kill the voice first.
So yeah, he did it, and
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Take 2, go to 12.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fine. If Alec has another Plukernos, it's not as good, but I mean, do what you want to do. The thing that's weird about that play is that Alec should have seen that coming from a million miles away.
As soon as Scotty started reading the card.
Yeah, and then asking JB if the exact thing
I think
happened.
he might have done it first, so I don't know. Can't hear him.
But I think if I'm Alec there, and if I decide to attack in with my Plukernos, I would just kill the Smiter and be done with it. So I guess it all comes down to what's the last card in Alec's hand. Scotty has a lot of chump blockers, but these Sylvan Caryatid's so good in this format at blocking so many relevant creatures. Emissary, Ash Zealot, Voice, Precinct Captain, all the one drops out of the white weenie deck.
Attacking Zenigo. What is Zenigo's at right now? 3 still, because he hasn't done anything.
Mm-hmm. Chump.
Sure.
So Scotty down to 1 card in hand, but more importantly has an Obsidat on board. He floated mana and then ate it. He used the elf's mana to eat itself. Elf cannibalism. I can't support that.
Leaving Obsidat.
Let's make a card called Elf Cannibalism. All the satyrs.
I guess you can leave Obsidat up. It's preventing 2 damage either way, but prevent more in the long run, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the awkward point here is that while Scotty seems to have inevitability at this point, he's never going to be able to kill the Xenagos this way, and he's behind in this race. And every card off the top of Alec's deck is potentially much better than Scotty's draws at this point.
Both of them are.
Well, I guess that's true. Scotty has some bumps.
Well, I was just saying, both of them are hell-bent pretty much. They got 1 card left each.
Mm-hmm.
Alec has 2.
So the way this works, 1 damage is going to get through. Sending Scotty to 13.
Elemental.
Get the Elemental, but now Alec
Looks like Alec ate it already.
has a Traveling Satyr.
Well, no, he hasn't eaten it yet.
Hasn't eaten anything yet, but he has 4 activations of hit for Scavenging Ooze here. So we can make it, so we can eat 2 things.
Ugh.
There's a Mystic. Make your Elemental bigger.
It's a 6. Yeah, 6.
So serve in with all the big guys, confirming that the Elemental was a 6/6. I assume you just attack Alec here, right?
I don't know if I like that card. He leaves those with that up to getting eaten by the scavenging ooze.
I don't think there's not enough. The Ooze can only be a 4/4.
Yeah. 5/5.
Aww.
Sorry.
Hi, everyone.
And then
Bye, everyone.
I absolutely hate when people do that. If you open the door and see that you can't get in here, don't interrupt. I don't understand why people do that. But Scotty with the blowout here, as Alec was attempting to trade his Scavenging Ooze with the... What happened there?
I think he regened his dudes.
Oh, he regened. I thought he was going to minus... Oh, but it's symmetric. It's minus one to all creatures. Yeah, so it'd work out like that. I think it's the second week in a row I've misconstrued the way Golgari Charm works.
Wait, so he blocked... Oh, that's right, he's 6/6 right now. I see.
So attacking in here... No. Attacking in with these guys means that 2 damage gets through. No, just, yeah,
Like
roadblocks
two,
with the
yeah.
walls. And then Alec has drawn a lot of lands. He is a ramp deck, but not really the get a lot of lands into play kind of ramp deck. So we've seen no Garrix, we saw one Domri, which got Abrupt Decay.
What was that? Let's see.
That card's been in his hand for a while, so I'm not sure if it's... Oh, no, wait, that was the Golgari Charm, so this is just another elf. So 2 straight elves off the top.
Boom.
I just made the element as big as possible.
No tags.
No attacks, and just blinks the Obsidat.
Make you come at him.
So Alec's deck has a lot of degenerate plays, but doesn't really have any hard removal. I guess he's playing mortars, probably. At least in the board, I would think there'd be some number of them. The way he usually does damage is fight with Blue Kronos, fight with Domri. The problem is he has no Blue Kronos or Domris.
Needs a Grook. Stick it and get gas.
Question in the chat whether Scotty runs Elspeth. I do not believe he does.
Did run one, but he took it out.
Okay. Uh-oh, we're going to make something big here. So activating the +1 on Xenagos for 1, 2. So we're just going to cast that.
Cast it. Has 3.
Cast a Voyaging Satyr.
What's his ultimate again? Or not Flicker.
What is the Xenagos?
It's like look at the top 5 or 7.
Are you asking what it's?
Creatures in play.
Are you asking what the
Xenagos
loyalty
is
count is, or what it does?
What it does.
7-card Primal Surge.
Oh, okay.
So Scotty's just going to try to ride these Obsidat triggers to a win, which is fine, except that sometimes this happens. We've made 1,000,000 mana. We have a Nykthos here. So I think what Alec is doing, he's not trying to make mana. He's just decided I should be, if we're going to stall out, if you're going to stall out, we're going to try to win with the Xenagos.
Right.
The problem with this is doesn't Scotty run Heroes of Downfall?
Yep. Should have 3 in his deck right now.
I mean, he's still got to draw them, but it's a dangerous
They
gambit.
draw on like 2 removal spells. It's weird.
4 mana for Whip. Eek.
That's good.
This makes the race much more lopsided. And Scotty should just be swinging in with his. Well, I still don't know if he can swing in with anything. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can swing in with the Elemental token, which would force Alec to trade away his Scavenging Ooze plus another creature. And he's decided to go rough and tumble with it, serving in with all of his non-Obsidat attackers. Nope, changing his mind. Both of these guys like to do the attack and then think about it.
Or they think about it, attack, and then think
Do
about
the
it
little
again.
fakey.
Add mana. Add more mana.
Ultimate price on the Scavenging Ooze.
There were no creatures out in the graveyards, right?
No, it was as big as it could have been. And now we should be safe to just swing in with everything, right? Because
I wouldn't swing with all of that.
he can't. If he kills with all that, doesn't he just lose?
No, he does, doesn't he? Xenagos.
This can't be right, right?
I wouldn't do it.
Why are we attacking Xenagos? You know what I would do? Nothing. I would just let Xenagos die. Then hope you draw mortars off the top, or
Just attack. It doesn't matter. He's gonna gain a ton of life.
And the whip, pretty much.
yeah. But I mean, I still don't think there's any point in attacking Xenagos.
No, you just should attack.
You just
him.
attack.
Alec's already at 9.
Yeah.
He can prevent. How big is that? Elemental 7.
Yeah.
So he can prevent 7, 12. Block the 2 biggest, and he's still taking 6. And he's a 3, and that's 2 ups of that trigger. So
I guess there's a point where I think Scotty just overthinks it.
yeah.
Like you have a whip, you have giant creatures, your opponent's at 9 and has 3 2/2s. Just hit him. You're going to need enough life that doesn't matter.
No, I think he's attacking.
He's tagging Alex.
Yeah.
So the Satyrs are going to eat the 2 Elvish Mystics. Scotty's going to gain 1 billion life up to, let's see where the, it felt like the Hill Climber game on Price is Right. You just stop, wait until you see where the number stops.
Or it falls off the mountain.
It stops on 35. And Alec draws Sylvan Carry Tip, one of the most devastating spells in his deck. So there is an Obsidat trigger. Is this going to be enough? We can
Squeeze in one damage.
We can whip back a Mystic here.
Heroes down for
I wouldn't do it.
Goes with that and then move it back into play.
Just swinging with everything. It's gotta block it.
I mean, it doesn't
This is
matter.
killing me.
Yeah, well, welcome to every week where I have to watch it. What I don't understand is, like, why are we thinking... Alec has 1 card in hand. What can Alec draw? What's the best thing he can draw right now? That's not even going to win the game. It's going to...
Game, giant, what is it, Giant Spring or...
Giant
So
Spring?
you whip back. Okay. Just use
Giant
it.
Spring, you know, the one where you gain life.
Oh. That doesn't make any sense. Even if he draws Mizium Mortars, assuming it's in his deck,
You're still going
All
to dot
that's
it
still
off to
gonna-
that.
how does that still kill him?
I think Alec's only hope is that Scotty draws an illegal card.
Scotty draws a Tendrils of Agony. Alec has a very good chance at winning. That's not even the case because JB would just make him put a basic land in his deck. And
Or if he forgets to exile, it's also that.
going to scry one to the top. Blink Obsidat. Alec's going to draw what's likely an irrelevant card.
Primal Surge.
So we do get to Primal Surge the Xenagos. So look at the top 7, put all permanents into play. Is Alec going to slow roll so not even show us what they are? If he just like scoops without showing, it's going to be so brutal. I guess it's a -7 then?
I think it's only lands and creatures. I don't think it does.
Yeah, more
Yeah, it's
free.
only lands
One
and
land.
creatures.
He signed it in the Pithing Needle. Do you know why? Is
It's good against whip.
but I mean, is it really good against Whip?
No, not really.
Wouldn't you rather have something that does something?
He's not even like killing off to that really.
So he's only missed on 1. He missed on a Pithing Needle. There's 1 card left in the off the ultimate. All of these cards are mana dorks. They don't do anything. You just die the turn after. What is that? Thundermaw? Rurik Thar.
In the glare.
The card in the glare is a Voyaging Satyr.
Traveling Satyr.
I always say Traveling Satyr. Voyaging is right?
Yeah, Voyaging's right.
I always say Traveling. You just blink off that and pass the turn back a win.
Not if he has a kill spell. Kill off to that and then with it.
If Scotty casts 10 non-creature spells, he's got a he doesn't have a good chance of winning this game.
Alec can't even Mortars here.
His chances are really low because he only has a card in hand.
What are we doing?
Checking around. Right. Sure.
Another work star.
No, that's it. That took forever. That game was over a long time